Detective Anna Wilson moved quickly through the narrow alleys of Quezon City, her coat pulled tight against the drizzle that slicked the cobblestones beneath her boots. The city had a way of feeling alive at night, but only in the way a predator feels alive, watching, listening, waiting for the slightest sign of weakness. Anna's instincts were razor-sharp. Years on the force had taught her that shadows often hid more than just the lost and the lonely. Tonight, however, there was something different. A tip had reached her desk earlier in the day, an anonymous message scrawled in hurried, jagged handwriting: "The voice will lead you. Find him before they do." She wasn't sure if it was a trap, a joke, or the breakthrough she'd been hunting for, but she followed it anyway, boots splashing in shallow puddles along the alley. The walls pressed in on both sides, streaked with grime and tagged with peeling graffiti. Neon signs flickered above, casting intermittent shadows that made her skin crawl. The air smelled of wet concrete, fried street food, and something acrid that made her stomach tighten. Anna's hand rested instinctively on the grip of her service pistol, though she didn't know if she would need it. Her eyes scanned every doorway, every corner, every figure that moved too quickly in the darkness. That's when she heard it, a single note, low and deliberate, cutting through the murmur of distant traffic. Anna froze. Her pulse quickened. This wasn't just a stray street performer hitting a chord, it was precise, controlled, almost hypnotic. She followed the sound deeper into the alley, each note wrapping around her like a tether she couldn't resist. In the half-light, a figure emerged, guitar slung casually over his shoulder. His movements were confident, deliberate, almost ceremonial, as if the instrument and his voice were extensions of a darker purpose. The first words of his song floated through the alley, haunting and melodic, and Anna felt a chill run down her spine. Even hardened street dwellers nearby paused, drawn involuntarily toward the sound. She watched him closely, noting the flicker of fear in the eyes of those who lingered at the edges. There was more to him than a beautiful voice, he was sending a message, one only someone perceptive could decode. Anna's detective instincts clicked into overdrive. She realized immediately that this wasn't mere chance or talent, it was a lure. Whoever he was central to a larger puzzle she had been piecing together for months, and the alley was the stage where the first act of that puzzle had begun. Each strum, each note, seemed to carry a hidden weight, a warning, and Anna felt the pull of curiosity and danger intertwining. She took a careful step closer, blending into the shadows, determined to see where this performance would lead, unaware that the night would change her life in ways she couldn't yet imagine. By the time Anna reached the tip-off location, the rain had slowed to a fine mist, curling like smoke around the neon-lit streets of Manila. She ducked into a narrow doorway that led to a flight of creaking metal stairs, descending into a subterranean world far removed from the city above. The air grew heavy with the scent of alcohol, tobacco, and something darker: fear, tension, and secrets left unspoken. This was the underworld, hidden beneath the bustling city, and tonight, it had an audience waiting. At the bottom of the stairs, a low hum of murmurs and clinking glasses drifted toward her. Patrons leaned against the walls, faces half obscured by shadows and smoke. The faint glow of a single spotlight revealed the stage at the far end, a small, intimate space, more cage than platform. And there he was, Marco, the singer from the alley. He stood tall and composed, guitar in hand, his eyes scanning the crowd until they locked with hers. There was something almost predatory in that gaze, an unspoken acknowledgement that he knew she had followed him. Then he began to play. The first note slithered through the club like a whisper, soft but demanding attention. When his voice came, it carried a haunting, hypnotic quality, blending melody and menace. Anna felt it like a pulse against her ribs, as if the song itself were alive, speaking directly to her. But this was no ordinary performance. Every lyric, every deliberate pause, seemed coded, messages woven into music, intended for a particular audience. Her detective instincts sharpened. She realized with a thrill and a chill that Marco wasn't just performing, he was manipulating, revealing, and concealing simultaneously. The crowd was mesmerized, oblivious to the undercurrents that Anna perceived. Eyes widened, head swayed, heart skipped, the perfect cover for whatever plan Marco had set in motion. He was exposing secrets about the criminal syndicate she had been tracking, whispering clues in a language only someone attuned could understand. Her pulse raced, torn between her duty to investigate and the dark magnetism that drew her closer to him. Every note seemed to echo the danger of the world she lived in, and yet, it resonated with something dangerously personal, a longing she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Anna kept to the shadows, watching as Marco's voice soared and dipped, each phrase carrying weight, threat, and confession. He glanced at her once more, a subtle tilt of the head, an acknowledgement that this was no ordinary encounter. The song ended, leaving a silence that hummed with tension. The patrons erupted in applause, but Anna felt only the electric charge of revelation and risk. Marco had not just sung, he had auditioned her, drawn her into his world without a single word of explanation. As she stepped closer, ready to confront him, Anna understood that this night was a turning point. The lines between justice and desire had begun to blur, and Marco was both the key to her case and the temptation she could not resist. In the dim glow of the underground club, with shadows wrapping around them like a secret covenant, the detective and the singer were caught in a dance that was as thrilling as it was dangerous, where the crime she sought to unravel and the dark allure of him were inseparable. The abandoned warehouse by the Pasig River smelled of damp wood and rusted metal, a place long forgotten by the city above. Anna Wilson's boots echoed against the concrete floor as she stepped cautiously inside, her coat plastered to her body from the drizzle outside. Moonlight streamed through broken windows, slicing the shadows into jagged lines that danced across the walls. Somewhere in the distance, water lapped against the riverbank, a steady, hypnotic rhythm that mirrored her own quickening heartbeat. She had tracked Marco here, following the trail of his coded performances and whispered clues, and now she finally had him cornered. Marco stood near a stack of crates, his guitar resting against one shoulder. The dim light caught his sharp features, highlighting the intensity in his eyes. "I was wondering when you'd arrive," he said quietly, his voice low, smooth, almost seductive. There was no fear in him, only that dangerous calm of someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Anna's hand instinctively hovered over her sidearm, but she didn't draw it. Something in his presence, in the way he carried himself, made her question everything she thought she knew about control and danger. "I followed you," Anna said, her voice steady despite the rush of adrenaline. "This ends tonight, Marco. All of this, the songs, the performances, it's tied to the syndicate. You've been playing a dangerous game." Her eyes scanned the warehouse for hidden threats, for evidence, for any sign that this confrontation could spiral out of control. Marco smiled faintly, but there was no arrogance in it. Instead, it was a smile that carried regret, confession, and something darker. "You think I've been performing for them?" he asked, his tone almost teasing. "No. I've been performing for you. You're the only one who could see what's been hidden beneath the music." His words hit her like a cold wave, part revelation, part seduction. Anna's mind raced, piecing together the clues he had embedded in each lyric, each note, each coded message. Everything led to him, and everything led to her. He stepped closer, and Anna felt the tension coil between them like a live wire. "I needed you to understand," he said, voice husky, eyes locking with hers. "You're the only one I trust to end this, or to keep it alive." There was a pause, heavy with possibility, where law and desire collided. Anna's instincts screamed caution, but her heart betrayed her, pulled toward him by something she hadn't felt in years. The criminal web she had been untangling was suddenly intertwined with the dark, intoxicating magnetism of Marco himself. The silence stretched, broken only by the distant drip of water from the warehouse roof. Anna realized that the case she had been chasing for months had always been more than a mystery of crime, it was a story of trust, temptation, and dangerous love. Marco had not just been a performer, not just a suspect, he was the key to everything she had been seeking. And in that moment, with shadows wrapping around them like a clandestine embrace, Anna understood that her life had changed irrevocably. Duty, desire, crime, and confession were no longer separate, they were a single, dark duet, impossible to untangle. As the moonlight illuminated the warehouse, Anna Wilson faced a choice: uphold the law, or surrender to the dangerous, forbidden connection she felt for the man who had audaciously auditioned her into his world. She took a deep breath, knowing that either decision would mark the beginning of a story neither of them would ever forget.